would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a, this is, of course, a...
Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's appearance at the Munich Security Conference was intended to showcase a rising Democratic star on the global stage. Instead, it quickly turned into a weekend of viral clips and uncomfortable moments that drew criticism not only from conservatives, but from figures on the political left as well. Even moderate and liberal commentators acknowledged that several of her remarks in Germany were uneven. While attending the high-profile gathering, Ocasio-Cortez made multiple comments that raised eyebrows across social media. The New York Democrat, who is often floated as a potential 2028 presidential contender, struggled with foreign policy questions and delivered at least one line that critics seized on immediately. In one exchange, she criticized the Trump administration's actions toward Venezuelan strongman Nicolas Maduro, but did so while casually claiming that Venezuela was below the equator. She said, "We look at what happened in Venezuela, for example. It is not a remark on who Maduro was as a leader. He canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state. We cannot engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator." The problem, critics noted, is that Venezuela is actually above the equator. Independent journalist Glenn Greenwald was among the first on the left to pounce. Whoever convinced AOC that she had successfully completed her tutoring and was now ready to give book reports about foreign policy in public really should look for another line of work. Unless the goal was to sabotage her, in which case, kudos for a job well done, Greenwald wrote on X. Semaphore writer David Weigel also highlighted the geography mix-up, predicting the clips will linger. Venezuela is above the equator. Depending on your TL, you got very different takes on AOC's Germany talks, but she had a number of clangers that I expect to see for 3 years in meme video comps, Weigel posted. Criticism also followed Ocasio-Cortez's response when asked whether the United States should commit to defending Taiwan. Her initial answer, filled with pauses and verbal fillers, quickly circulated online.
To all of you, and Congressman, I'll start with you, would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a, this is, of course, a very long-standing policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
Former CNN journalist Chris Chaliza weighed in early Friday, calling the answer not great on X. When one commenter noted that Ocasio-Cortez is neither Secretary of Defense nor Secretary of State, Chaliza responded, "Agree, but she does want to run for president, and she sounds like me when I didn't do the reading for class and the professor calls on me." Matt Whitlock, a GOP strategist, called Ocasio-Cortez's showing an absolute train wreck, calling her out for talking Nazis, Mexico and Spain, and the word salad heard round the world on Taiwan. "Tell me you know nothing about history without saying you know nothing about history," Senator Ted Cruz, Republic Texas, wrote. President Donald Trump has also mocked Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez following her inaccurate claim at the Munich Security Conference that Venezuela lies below the equator, calling her remarks damaging to America's image abroad.
I watched AOC answering questions in Munich. This was not a good look for the United States. I watched Gavin Newsom answering questions in Munich, and this was a bad look for our country. These two people are incompetent, and at least Hillary's competent. She's just Trump deranged. She was so deranged, and she is an angry woman, but I watched the other two speaking and answering basic questions. Look, Gavin has destroyed California, and AOC, I never heard her speak very much, and they started answering questions. She had no idea what was happening. She had no idea how to answer, very important questions concerning the world. But you can't answer questions concerning New York City either, because New York City is got some problems.
Now that Gaza is entering phase 2, should Israel lift its ban on foreign journalists being allowed into Gaza?
Well, we'll be lifting a lot of bans pretty soon. I think you're going to see everything opening up. Gaza, look, we have peace in the Middle East. Now, you have some flames here and there, but we essentially have peace in the Middle East, and that happened primarily when we did the B-2 attack on the potential nuclear power. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month. If that happened, it would have been a whole different deal. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
So the $5 billion that you announced yesterday for the border peace, is that a down payment, or are you expecting
We want to help people. That's peanuts compared to the kind of money that has been spent in the Middle East by Bush, by Obama, by all of these people, by Biden. I mean, the money he spent. But the money he spent, that's such a small amount of money by comparison. But we want to make it successful. I think it has the chance to be the most consequential board ever assembled of any kind.
How was going for Ron DeSantis?
Great. We had a great time. We had Ron and a couple of other people. 2 great coaches, as you know. The 2 greatest coaches, I would say, certainly in college football. And we had a good time playing golf. Thank you very much. I didn't get to play today because I'm working on other things, very important things, much more important than golf. Thank you very much.
Melania for Valentine's, Mr. President?
She's on the plane. Melania's on the plane. We have a movie star on the plane.
Did you have any Valentine's Day plans with her?
Did I what?
Did you do anything for Valentine's with her? Did you give her flowers?
I better not tell you that. Goodbye, everybody. That's the toughest question. Now, she's very, I'm proud of the fact, her movie's so successful. It's a tremendous hit. And she does a good job. She does some very consequential work. I think you're going to see in the end that she's going to go down as one of the truly great first ladies. When you see what she's doing with Russia, Ukraine, and so many of the other things she's doing, she's done a good job. She works very hard. Okay?
Is Westmore invited to the White House this week, Mr. President?
Just so you understand, the governors were all, other than 2. One was from Colorado, where he's got a 73-year-old woman who's probably got serious cancer, confined, and for some time in solitary confinement, because she pointed out the voter theft that was taking place. In other words, she pointed it out. They arrested her, and they gave her a 9-year sentence. And he better let her go, because it's a disgrace. And the other guy's just a bad governor. He's not doing a good job. Westmore, he's doing a terrible job. And you can see that. Well, I didn't invite those 2. If the rest of them don't want to show up, that's okay. I hear they're coming, a lot of them. The White House is a great place to be. But no, I don't like the job that Westmore is doing. I don't like the job he's doing in the bridge. I don't like the fact that he did that horrible, with the pipes and the Potomac. And he's not doing the job. They got to do it, and I'm gonna have to get the federal government involved in getting it fixed, because he can't fix anything. Thank you very much.